Well, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Listen, I am your host, Lambo Drew, and welcome to the Leverage Show. Truly, it is definitely an honor and a special one tonight, man. I have my guest, Mr. Rondi Lambeth, who's going to come in here and definitely drop some juice. I've been excited about this one. This has been the long anticipated one that each and every single one of y'all have been inboxing, sending texts, and sending all kind of messages for. So you guys are going to be excited about this one tonight. He's definitely here. He's in the building. He's not waiting to fly somewhere to come in on a jet and all of this other stuff. He is actually here in the building tonight. So I truly want to thank you guys for tuning it in. Hopefully you guys can catch all the replays. I'm looking at all the comments starting to come in now. Catch all the replays. Make sure you guys are sharing this video. Get this video out to as many people as you possibly can, because tonight will definitely be a life-changing night, especially with all of the tools, the tricks, and the things that Mr. Rondi Lambeth is actually going to come to the show and be able to share with you guys. So make sure you guys open your minds, get all of this clutterness out and all of that stuff, and make sure you guys got a big enough pen, notepad, and everything else to be able to write this down. But make sure you are sharing this video. Get this video out. Make it go viral each and every single week. Because of you guys, we've been seen by thousands of viewers who've been out here because of this broadcast. This little bitty small broadcast is now reaching the airwaves to many people and helping change a lot of lives. So without further ado, I'm not going to hold him up tonight because he's excited. He is in the building, and I really want to go ahead and introduce my guest, no other than Mr. Rondi Lambeth, to the show. So you guys make sure you welcome him to the Leverage Show. Rondi, how are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you doing, Lambo Drew?
Hey, life is beautiful. How about yourself tonight?
Hey, every day you wake up 6 feet above the ground. It's a beautiful thing.
That's what they say. That's what the old folks said. So
there's no such thing as a bad day. Open your eyes. Don't matter.
Hey, my grandpa used to say all the time, if you want to see a bad day, go talk to the people in the graveyard or the cemetery.
There you go.
See what their response are. So I truly am excited about this this collaboration. Everybody has been talking about this. I'm excited for all the years that you have actually put in to helping, many people around America help change and navigate their lifestyle. So I'm really excited about this broadcast and having you here tonight.
Hey, I really appreciate your diligence, because I got to tell you, you worked pretty hard to get me here.
Yes,
you really did, because I had a lot of stuff going on, and but you kept on plugging away. So I'm really proud to be here. I'm honored to be here. So thanks for having me on. Let's see if I can deliver some good content for your people.
Yeah. Well, they're more fans of you than almost of me. So they're definitely in here. They're in the broadcast. Look at them. They're all in the chats. Happy Tuesday. Shout out to you, LA Law. I hope everyone is doing well. We are. Shout out to you. Miss Really, that's Miss Reagan. She's another wonderful patron, man, faithful one out here. Mr. Jamal Titus, man, my student, man, he is in the building. Shout out to him, crypto expert. My wife is here. Hey, hello, everyone. She definitely gives her regards to you, Mr. Lambeth, man. She loves you for many years, man, Rondi.
Thank you.
My guy, Kenneth, he is in the building. I am here, Lambo Drew, driving home. Wouldn't miss this one. Shout out to you, Kenny, man. He couldn't wait to go ahead and see you. And Mr. Tracy. Oh, shout out to Mr. Tracy, man. He is in the building. Man, we got a nice crew already, man, that have tuned in, and it's only getting ready to get even intensified more than this. So the man of the hour is here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Rondi Lambeth. Shout out to you, Sharon, and let him get started with you guys. And tonight, I got a few questions that I would truly love to ask, but you got to let the people know about your platform. Let the people know exactly what it is that you do and how you have actually helped change the culture of thousands of people over all these years, Mr. Lambeth.
You bet. I usually like to give some content first, give some value before I go and plug my stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway, since you asked me to. You can find me anywhere on social at rondilambeth.com, and maybe even Twitter soon, now that things are changing over there at that box, if you will. So I might be going back to Twitter, but you can find me anywhere on social at rondilambeth.com, as well as rondilambeth.com. I said that a couple times, didn't I?
Yeah. Don't worry. I'll put it on the screen for you, Rondi.
And then rondilambeth.com. Here's what I want to do. I want to help everyone I can possibly help understand money, credit, and taxes. You know, a few days ago, I was on social and a guy that I follow posted something about a couple selling a house and how much taxes they're going to owe. And I was shocked a little bit on the responses from people. And I simply respond to the guy as there's zero tax owed as long as they understand the basics of finance and the basics of taxes. And what I found is after helping hundreds of thousands of people with their money, their credit, their taxes, their investments, most people don't understand money at all. And the government wants it that way because if you don't understand something, you pay more. And so I really strive to help people understand their credit score so they can pay less interest. By paying less interest, they pay less back to the bank, save more for their families. Understanding the tax code, they pay less in taxes so they can save more for their future. And it just starts snowballing from there. So I'm here to answer any question you want. I can talk for hours if you want. You just tell me it's your show. What would you like me to do?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna give you the floor, but I will say this. I got so many questions. People have inboxed me, business owners as well. You rely heavily on taxes and exactly some of the strategies that you use that has helped thousands over the years. Could you break some of those things down in strategies and techniques and tips that you've actually used personally yourself that can actually help out so many of our viewers who tonight are out here and who will see this broadcast?
Yeah, I'd love to. So let's break a fallacy, a myth. You are not legally required to pay more than you're required to pay. So there are people out there say you're not required to pay income taxes. And if you follow that advice, you probably will end up in jail. I'm not saying you're not legally required to pay taxes. I'm saying you're not legally required to pay more than you're legally required to pay. Let me break that down. If you make $100,000 a year or less, and you apply, I did this class just last week. If you apply 9 simple tools, just 9, you would legally pay 0 income taxes. So if you make $100,000 or less and you apply 9 simple tactics, you will pay 0 in income tax. The government doesn't want us to do this. They don't want us to know how this thing works because they wouldn't have money to send off to other countries. Like, look, we just gave billions of dollars to Ukraine. And I feel bad for the Ukrainian citizens. I don't feel bad for the Ukrainian government. But I do feel bad for the citizens. But why are we sending our money over there? Why are we not taking care of people here? We have 200,000 people living on the streets in California alone. Why are we sending billions and billions of dollars to other countries like Brazil to help market and advertise the Brazil nut? Why are we sending $500 million to Afghanistan to push the transgender logic and that whole movement? Why do we need to teach people the difference between a man and a woman, and maybe there's not a difference, in Afghanistan? $500 million of our tax money. So because of this, I just simply refuse to pay more than I'm legally required to pay. I will pay what I'm legally required to pay because I do not look good in orange. But I'm not going to pay one dime more. So let's break it down on what you can write off. And later we can get in some credit if you want. But I got to throw this out there. I am not a tax attorney. I am not a CPA. I'm not an enrolled agent. I am not a tax professional. So what I'm going to share with you is simply my opinion for educational purposes. Because as a licensed financial professional, I can't say this is tax advice. Is that fair?
That's fair. Go ahead.
All right. So what people don't realize is you can write off many, many things. So the 9 things that I talked about that you can write off. Number 1, you can write off your house. You can write off your home office. You can write off your car. You can write off your cell phone. You can write off certain clothing like this. This is actually uniform. See that right there? That's a logo. I get to write off my clothing. I can't write this hat off because I don't own this company.
Yeah.
I can write off my travel. I got a video that I did now 4 weeks ago on TikTok. It's at 1.4 million views. It went crazy.
Yeah.
It was a simple video. It was how to legally write off travel, aka vacations, with your family. And it went viral because people didn't understand that you could write off the airfare, the hotel, the Uber, the car rental, the food, the drinks, the entertainment, the shows, the whole thing. You could legally take your family to Disneyland, even though I probably won't want to go to Disneyland right now, but you can take them anywhere else in the world and legally write it off.
Yeah.
If you understand the tax code. You can write off your children's education. They don't want you to know that.
Yeah.
You can write off pretty much anything. Boats, airplanes, motorcycles, guns, anything you want to write off. Your food, you can write it off as long as purchasing it is reasonable and it's an attempt to make money. You ever watch the show? One of my clients the show was based on him, The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes, I have. Yes.
Remember when the dad comes in, and I'm not condoning the behavior.
Yeah.
I personally know Jordan.
Okay.
Jordan's a friend of mine. Jordan's a client of mine. And remember when Jordan's dad come in and he's like, $200,000 on hookers?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
You spent $200,000? And then he's like, what kind of hooker takes a credit card? And Jordan goes, the good ones.
Yeah.
That's a write-off.
Right.
Because he used that in an attempt to make more money. Now, it's not legal. I'm not condoning the behavior. I'm just saying, in the eyes of the IRS, as long as you're attempting to make money, you can write it off. All right. So let's talk about your house. This morning, I'm a big Tiger Woods fan. I like the guy. Yeah, I made some mistakes. I think if he just owned it, he'd have done a lot better off than what he did, instead of skirting around it and trying to blame it on a bunch of other bullshit. If he just said, look, yeah, I own it. I did it, claimed it. You know, my good friend Tim Grover talks about it. Just own it.
Yeah.
Don't be a cooler, be a cleaner, and just own it. Well, today he was in all the social media feeds, and he's going to play at the Masters.
Okay.
So here's how this ties in. You've heard of the Masters, right?
You know I have.
Right? It's in Augusta, Georgia. There's not very many places to stay in Augusta. It's very difficult to get into.
Yeah.
And it's a community primarily old rich white folks. Okay? Well, when the Masters started playing there, these people would leave and let the celebrities and the golfers come in and stay at their house. And these old rich white folks didn't want to pay income tax like the rest of America on the rentals when they'd rent their mansions to the golfers. So they did what a lot of people do that have money and means and power and influence. They called up their buddies over at Congress and said, hey, we don't want to pay income tax when we rent our house to celebrities and golfers and to our friends. And so Congress, my opinion, by the way, this is what happened. It's my opinion this is what happened. I don't know if it really happened this way. It's my opinion.
Talk to him, Clyde.
They called their buddies up at Congress and said, we don't want to pay income tax on several $100,000 of income we're getting ready to make. So we want you to create a law that says if we rent our house during masters, we don't have to pay income tax. So they created what's called the Augusta rule, which legally allows the rich white folks in Augusta, Georgia, to rent their houses out to all the celebrities and golfers 14 days a year, 100% tax-free, with no limit to how much they rent their houses out for. So listen to this, Lambo. Imagine that you have this big mansion. You're like, hey, I want $100,000 a day, which people pay. That's $1.4 million, 100 grand a day, and that's an extreme.
Yeah.
$1.4 million that Tiger Woods can pay this dude to rent his house for 14 days. Tiger gets to write it off, by the way. The rich dude gets to collect the $1.4 million and doesn't have to pay a dime in taxes. Does that seem fair?
Doesn't seem fair, but I mean, it is America, right? You know.
So it is fair. And it doesn't seem fair if you don't understand the rules. And I'm not saying that you don't understand the rules, but let me break it down.
Yeah.
When they make the rule for one type of business, it applies to all businesses. So when they did that for the rich folks in Augusta, Georgia, so they could rent their house to Tiger Woods for $1.4 million and not have to pay taxes on it, it allows me to rent my house to Tiger and not pay taxes. It allows you to rent your house to me, or you can rent your house to yourself 14 days a year and pay zero income tax and no limit on how much you charge for rent.
Whoa. You got to break this one down, Rodney, because this one is now, you know, they lighten up the comments now. This one is going to blow some minds. You got to talk to us about that and break that one down slowly.
So it's called the Augusta rule.
Okay.
So almost all rules in the tax code. So there's 40,000 pages. Some people say less, some people say more, but the percentage is the same. There's 40,000 pages, of which 99.9% of all the pages in the tax code have to do with how to legally not pay income tax. Only 1% or 0.01% actually have to do with paying taxes. So here's this one. You, as a business owner, so if you have an LLC taxed as an S Corp, an S Corporation, or a C Corporation, you legally can rent your home that you live in and that you own back to your corporation to have your shareholder minutes or meetings 14 times a year and not have to pay taxes on that money. So let's break it down. Let's say that my house is worth $2 million.
Okay.
The rule of thumb is you take 2 zeros off, and that's what you can rent for the year. So if we take $2 million minus the 2 zeros, that'd be what, 20 grand a year?
Yes, sir.
That means my business can pay me, Rondi Lambeth, $20,000 a year to rent my home 14 days during the year to have shareholder meetings with the shareholders. Me, I'm the only shareholder. I'm the CEO, the president, the secretary, and the treasurer. I'm going to have a meeting once a month throughout the year. $20,000 from the company goes to my personal checking account, tax-free. So if you have a house at, say, $500,000, that's roughly $5,000 a year. Okay. Now, there's two ways to do it. One is that rule, 10% of it, drop off 2 zeros. The other way is to go to Airbnb, put in Airbnb that you want to rent a house 1 day a month, the entire house, just one day, that matches or similar to your house. And this is what I recommend if you do this, is that you go to Airbnb and you back it up. So you back it up with proof, you print it out, you put it in your folder, that this is how you come up with the value of your house. So like when I lived in Lake Tahoe, I had a house on the water in Lake Tahoe. I rented that out for $3,000 a night.
Wow.
So when I was in Lake Tahoe, $3,000 a night times 14 days a year, that's $42,000 a year that I took out of my company, gave to me personally, 100% tax-free. Now, if you're in a condo, you can do the same thing. So this is just one of the 9 things that you can write off, and it's called the Augusta rule. Anything that Amazon can write off, anything that Apple can write off, anything that Nike can write off, any of these other companies can write off, you and I can write them off as well. And that's why it's fair. Because anything they write off, we can write off. Because there's nothing in the tax code that says you have to have 5,000 employees to write this off.
Correct.
So if I have one employee, which is me, I can write it off. Regardless of the business that you are in. So that's just one of the things. If you do all 9 things, you make $100,000 a year, you're not going to pay any income tax. So that's just one of the fun things to write off.
So hold on. Now, is that for someone who owns a home versus someone who's renting?
Yep. So you can only do this if you own the home. If you're renting, you can write off the rental. With Augusta, by the way, if you own it, you can do the second part as well. Okay. So Augusta rule is for only with people that own a home and have an office outside of the home.
Okay.
But if you have an office inside the home, you can still do the second part, which I'll go over right now. If you're a renter, let's say that you got a 2,000 square foot house. Is it okay if I use my last house, my last rental?
Please do. Please do, Ronnie.
So my last house that I moved out of in August was 3,000 square foot. And I wrote off about 50% of that house for my business because I'm single. My kids are all grown up. It's just me and my dog. And now my girlfriend is staying with me in my new house. Okay. But when I lived in the rental, it was just me and Sawyer. That was it.
Which I love seeing him on the trips with you.
He's an amazing dog.
Yes,
so it's 3,000 square foot house. My rent was cheap. It was like $2,500 a month. So throughout the year, it was like $30,000 a year. And then my electricity, we'll call it $100 a month. My internet, $100 a month. The neighbor kids that I paid to mow my lawn, which I believe in paying other people to do stuff for you that you don't want to do, was $100 a month. My water bill, let's call it $100 a month. And then throw in some other bills, it was $100 a month, whatever it was. You can even do, I had a house cleaner too, and that was a couple $100 a month.
Okay.
So you add all of that up, your rent, your electricity, the water, the internet, the house cleaner, the maintenance on the yard, you add all of that up. So let's say it was $40,000 a year of expenses. Now what you do is you add up all of the space that you use for your business. So what I did was I like to put my studio, my office, the farthest away from the front door as possible. Because the tax code allows you to write off 3 foot wide from the front door all the way to your office.
Okay.
So I put my office all the way down the hall, turn left, all the way up the stairs, turn left, and over the top of the garage. So I got to write off a 3 foot path down the hall, upstairs, down the other hall, over the garage. Now, I had an office. As soon as you walked into the house, you immediately turned left. There was an office there.
Okay.
I didn't claim that as my office.
Okay.
My office is as farthest away as I can possibly get.
Got it.
So if you have a house or apartment, you want to go from your front door to your office space. It doesn't have to be a separate room, but it has to be a separate area.
Got it.
So it used to be like it had to be under lock and key, but that doesn't apply anymore. But it has to be a separate area. So you can't claim like your living room where you watch TV as your office if you're also in there watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
But if you use your dining room area as an office and it's next to the TV and there's no walls, then you can do that. But you get right off from the front door to your office and front door to the bathroom. So I claimed the bathroom that was downstairs down the hall.
Yeah.
So I got to go from my front door, down the hall, through the kitchen to the other bathroom. And so what you do is you lay it out, you draw a picture of it. If it's an apartment or a house, you just draw the picture. You measure 3 foot wide because according to ADA, American Disabilities Act, all businesses require a 3 foot minimum opening. So you get to write off 3 foot. So you go from 3 foot from the front door to the hall, down the way, and you add up all that square footage. And when I was all said and done at my last house, it was 1,500 square feet was used for my office.
Yeah.
Of a 3,000 square foot house, which meant I get to write off 50% of that 40 grand.
Mm.
So that's a $20,000 write-off as a renter that I got to do. So that's $20,000 that you can make from your W-2 job and not have to pay income tax on it, as long as you have a home-based business that's set up as either an S corporation or a C corporation. That could be an LLC taxes an S corp or an LLC taxes C corp. But you have to be a business owner to do this. And then you get to write off a bunch of other stuff. So that's how the home office and the Augusta rule works. If you're a homeowner, you get to do the home office and Augusta.
Wow. Do you know how game-changing that is for some people who are out here who, I mean, a lot of their tax advisors and people who have actually, some of them are doing their own taxes. They never, ever even seen that to be able to write that off. I mean, that's an amazing thing.
It is. You know, I got a call a few days ago, and it's a guy that I know, and he's young. He's like 22 years old. He's run a food company, and he's mentored by a billionaire.
Okay.
And this made me feel really good. And I don't want this to sound arrogant, because it's definitely not arrogant. Like, I was thinking to myself, like, why is this kid calling me? He's got a billionaire mentoring him, and he's calling me for advice on money and taxes. And then my girlfriend she broke it down, because I went to her and I'm like, why is this guy calling me? She goes, look, the billionaire's so far detached from all this stuff. It's not even on his radar.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking this kid through how to buy a house. And he's not writing off his kids. He's not writing off his car. He's not writing off his cell phone. He's not writing off his rental. Like, all this stuff. And it's about 30 to 40 grand a year of savings for him.
Wow.
And his billionaire coach has never brought this up with him, because, again, what Amanda said was like, he's so far detached from that.
Yeah.
That he's just like assuming this kid knows this.
Yeah.
And that's just how it works. You know, if you're doing your own taxes, I'm going to guarantee you right now, you're paying way more taxes than you're legally required to pay if you do your own taxes. Who's your favorite football team?
New Orleans Saints, born and raised New Orleans, man.
All right, New Orleans Saints. I just watched, I don't remember if it was on an air. I think it was on an airplane. The movie based on New Orleans Saints head coach when he
Sean
died.
Payton, yes.
That was a great movie.
It was a great movie on Netflix. Yes, it was.
Yeah, I think I watched that on an airplane somewhere. That's generally when I watch TV and movies, is on the airplane. I don't watch it really at home. And I'm not much of a football fan. I should be, since my dad got drafted out of high school to play for Green Bay Packers. My cousin played for Detroit Lions. 2 of my brothers got drafted for the NFL. But I'm not really much of a football player fan per se. But let's say that who's the coach? Or the coach is Peyton, but Drew Brees was the quarterback, right?
Correct. Correct. Up until he retired a year ago.
Yeah, that's one of my girlfriend's really good friends is Drew Brees, which is how I know he played in New Orleans. Other than that, I don't know that.
Yeah.
But let's say that Drew Brees, it's Super Bowl time, and he doesn't know what to do. Is he going to run over to the referee and say, "Ref, I want to win this game. What should I do?"
No.
Where's he go? Goes to the coach.
Correct.
So the referee is your CPA. See, CPAs, their job is not to save you money. Their job is not to help you beat the IRS at the Super Bowl. Their job as a CPA is to make sure you follow the rules, and legally, if you break the rules, they have to report you to the IRS.
Yes.
Your CPA, even though they're nice people, they're great people, they're overworked people.
Yeah.
They are not on your side. They work for the IRS, and their job is to file taxes and to report you if you do it wrong. Because if they don't, they go to jail. So people think their CPA is going to help them. And I meet with people all the time. They're like, why did my CPA tell me this? Because it's not his job.
Yeah.
It is the coach's job, AKA a tax professional, which I am not. I'm just an entrepreneur that doesn't like to pay taxes. But there are tax professionals I can introduce you to. So now that we've established that, understand that CPA, they're there to file your taxes. They're not there to help you save less money or save money. Now, if I go and tell you something like I did tonight, I tell you the Augusta rule, I told you how to write off your home office, and you go to your CPA and say, hey, I was listening to this crazy dude, and he's talking about the Augusta rule and writing off my home office. Can I do that? The CPA is going to say, yeah, you can do that. Sure, let's do it. And you're thinking to yourself, then why in the hell haven't you told me this?
Right.
Because it's not their job. It's your responsibility to figure the shit out. It's your responsibility to understand basic tax code and go to them and say, this is what I want to do. Or hire a tax professional that will break all this down for you.
Wow. Well, you've broken down to me, and I'm sitting in here just thinking like, dude, my tax professional never told me anything about this.
No. How many kids you got?
I got 4, Rondi.
How old are they?
15, 14, 12, and 8 at this point.
So you got 4 kids.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. Are they in salary?
No, they're not. But I know where you're going with this, because
Why not?
on
salary.
I should have them on salary, especially after I watch your broadcast.
Okay. That's $50,000 a year that you and your wife can earn and pay 0 income tax on.
Yeah.
$12,500 per kid up to the age of 18. From 18 to 26, you go all up to $35,000 per kid. Is it okay if I break that down?
Please break it down.
Okay. So our tax code, our current tax code says that you as a business owner can legally hire your kids to do things to help you with your business. So do your kids help you at all with your business?
Yes, they do.
What do they do?
Well, my kids, between getting paperwork or something like that I may need for my office, they're always doing it. They're always setting up stuff. They even part of my media team, man. My kids get my content for. They had me naive to YouTube and all of that. I had to ask my kids for all of this stuff.
Okay. So they're employees. I mean, they're working for you. They should be paid. And the IRS allows children under the age of 18 to make $12,500 a year from their parents and pay zero income tax on it, no self-employment tax, no state tax, zero. And you as the business owner get to write that off for the business. So all three of my kids work with me. All three of my kids have been on salary since they were literally a few weeks old. And yes, you can write off babies. Let me ask you a question. If you were going to go out and you were shopping and you're like, you know what, I got to pick between these two companies.
Yeah.
They're both great companies. This guy over here, he's got 50,000 employees. He's got no kids. It's corporate America. And this guy over here is 25 years old. He's got a couple little kids and a little baby on his advertisement. And you see his family on his marketing pieces. Price is the same, product's the same, everything's the same. Who are you going to pick? Rich dude or the family guy?
I'm going to pick the family guy, me.
Everybody's going to pick the family guy.
Yeah.
Which is why big corporations use babies and little kids and puppies and all that stuff on their marketing materials because they know people are going to pick them. We want to pick the underdog.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you can put your kids on salary for, if they're little, you can put them on salary for photo shoots, marketing, modeling, and then you can write that off. But let's go back to your kids. Your kids are older. They're helping you with YouTube. They're helping you with social media. They're going and maybe they're cleaning the car. Maybe they're cleaning the office. Yeah. My grandson was on salary for many years when I lived in Vegas. Mm-hmm. Every day after school, he'd come in. He had to empty the trash. He had to clean the bathrooms. He had to vacuum. And then he volunteered to give all the pretty girls back rubs. That was his job every single day. He was on salary. Now, people ask me, well, how do you do this? How do you put them on salary? And I'll say, well, one is you stop paying for things for your kids. Like when my kids were growing up, I didn't buy them clothes. I didn't buy my kids food. I didn't buy my kids food. I didn't buy them clothes. I didn't pay for them to go to the movies. I didn't pay for karate. I didn't pay for cheerleading. I paid for nothing.
Hold up.
I made my kids pay for it.
You got to break this down because this is insane. This is everything that the average consumer and most of the viewers out here are doing right now. Talk to us, Randy.
All right. So you pay for your kids' clothing right now, right?
Correct.
And their food.
Correct.
Maybe car insurance, maybe even a car, maybe some other stuff, cheerleading, football, wrestling, whatever. Instead, put them on salary, $1,000 a month, $12,500 a year that you control through a joint checking account, and you start making them pay for their own clothing through the joint checking account that the business puts money into. This will allow you to write off $12,500 per year per child. In your case, up to $50,000 a year in write-offs. And now, I'm helping a lady right now. She's got 3 kids, and she's putting $1,000 a month into their college fund.
Okay.
And I said, how about instead we put them on salary, put that money through the business, write it off for the business, and then we put $1,000 a month into the college fund, and you still pay for the kids' clothing or whatever. And that way you're writing off, in her case, about $38,000 a year through the business. And there's a couple things you got to do. The company's got to write them a check. They got to have a bank account, and it's got to be a regular check. Because employees don't work a year in advance. You know, they don't work for an entire year to get one check. They need a check every single month.
Correct.
Or every couple of weeks, however you want to break it down. But you got to actually physically write them a check or do a bank transfer.
Correct.
But that lets you write off some stuff. Okay. So as you can see, there's lots of other things, and we got a whole bunch of other stuff. I can go for hours on that. What was that? There was like 2 things so far. We haven't got into the other 7 things. So,
which I got one question for you real quick from Mr. Kennard. He says, if I have a cleaning person clean my condo and I have a home-based business, can I write that off?
Does he own it? If so, yes. Do you rent? If so, yes. But only the percentage used for the business. See, that's the key. If your condo, let's say your condo is 1,000 square foot and your office is 100 square foot, then you can only write off 10% of it. You can't write off 100% of it, but you can write off a portion for your office and the hallway and to the bathroom and the bathroom. Right. So now maybe it's 30% because you get to write off the whole bathroom because businesses under ADA are required to have a bathroom. So you get to write off the whole bathroom too.
Hopefully that answered Ken's question, man. You're gonna have Ken with a ruler out here and a measuring tape, man.
You should get your measuring tape out and draw it out. Absolutely.
Ken also asks a question. I want recommendations to your tax professional, please, and thank you.
Yes, I will send that over. Just have them send it to you, and then I'll send you my guy.
I got you. Got you covered. All right, not a problem, man. Well, thank you, Tracy Lambo. You bring the heat again tonight, man. It's Rondi Lambeth on here. Come on, man. You guys who don't know, Rondi actually did a shout out to you, PC Smith. Rondi did a almost 3-hour on one of your other broadcasts a couple days ago. This was last week and everything, explaining these things, all of these things that he actually just did.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Look, we're talking about taxes tonight, but if you got credit issues, I've helped hundreds of thousands of people fix their bad credit. There's nothing on a credit report that can't get removed. Bankruptcies, foreclosures, tax liens, judgments, collections, late payments, repossessions, foreclosures, short sales, all of them can be removed from credit report. And I've deleted millions and millions of items from credit reports. And that's really my specialty. Taxes is kind of my hobby.
Yeah.
But I know that taxes are, for most people, are biggest expense in life.
Yeah.
So I like to talk about that because it allows me to show you how to write off things, which then pays for the credit repair. It pays for the real estate coaching. It pays for the business credit coaching that I do. See, I get the IRS to pay for all of the other coaching that I do on credit, on investing, and all the rest of it. Sometimes I get the IRS to pay for your car. You know what's better than driving a Ferrari, or in this case, a Lamborghini?
Talk to me, man.
Having the IRS pay for the damn Lamborghini.
Wait.
I drove my Ferrari today. It's the first time I drove my Ferrari since August, and it was amazing. I got in it, turned the key, pushed the button, thing started up, made my heart just pitter patter. It's an amazing sound. I got to drive it a little bit. And the best part,
talk to me,
was the IRS paid for the whole damn thing.
Dude, I remember years ago, Rondi, when you put that gameplay out for that Ferrari, and everybody was like, you did something like it was an extended loan or something like that. It wasn't like no little 5-year, 4-year that you go to the car dealership. It was something like a 10, 12, 15-year type of loan that you did. You got to run that play down to them because some people they're asking it. They're seeing like, man, is that really Rondi Lambeth's Ferrari? I'm like, nah, that's his. The plane is his too.
Yeah, plane's mine too. So it's called business credit.
Okay.
And I show people how to establish business credit in their business name with no personal guarantees. So I technically don't own the Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
And I shouldn't say that it's my Ferrari because it's not my Ferrari. It's my business's Ferrari. Mm-hmm. The business has a loan on the Ferrari, and it was a 12-year loan. Mm-hmm. So my payment on my car is $1,040 a month. That's what some people are paying for their Honda Civics.
Yes.
Toyota Camrys for 3 years.
Yes.
That's what I'm paying for a car. There's less than 100 of them left. And I'm paying $1,000 a month. Tax write-off, by the way. But I did it through business credit. I'm not personally liable for it. If it gets repoed, it doesn't show up on my personal credit. The loan right now doesn't show up on my personal credit because I got a business loan for 12 years, 5.9% interest. So it's a little bit higher than you would pay. I think on my truck, it's like 3.2 or 2.9, somewhere in the 3%. So yeah, I'm paying a little bit more, but it's a 12-year loan. And it's through the business, and it doesn't show up on my personal credit.
You know, I talked about that exotic car play, man, probably on a broadcast last year. People's like, Drew, how do you know about that? I say, man, dude, this is something totally different. Rondi Lambeth, some of my coaches have put me on to this. And I learned from some of the best. I sat at you guys' feet and literally heard some of the best information I've ever heard in my life. And those who truly desire to get into that, I mean, they're like, man, how do we get into this? How did he learn this? Where do we go from here? Because there's a lot of people who may be struggling with their personal credit, truly desire to get into business credit. How do they go from there? Where do they start from, Rondi?
You know, I'd say go to rondilambeth.com. A lot of this stuff, follow me on social. I provide this stuff every day for free. I have paid services as well. And start following me and go to the rondilambeth.com, sign up for my free coaching, sign up for my books. With the cars, I teach people how to legally write the cars off and not lose any money. So my car, I bought it 4 years ago. Today, it's worth 3 times more than I paid for it. 3 times. Oh.
Say, man.
You could drive your Ford Taurus if you want. You can drive your Dodge Caravan if you want. I choose to drive exotic luxury cars because the shit doesn't go down in value. It generally goes up in value.
Right.
And you got to have good business credit. You got to have good personal credit, and you got to understand the tax game so the IRS pays for it and you can get into this game.
Yeah.
Don't hate on the guy that's driving that nice car if he understands it.
Yeah. We just at the Lamborghini dealership, 2 weeks ago with a good friend of mine. I was telling him the same thing. I said, man, you'll be surprised what you can get with all of this.
Yeah.
Be surprised. So ecstatic about that, man. Listen, we got questions real quick in here. Yes, I never knew about the bathroom hallway. And of course, my CPA never told me about that, which
of course not.
Ken, they're not going to tell you about that. Ken says, do you have a book or webinar or courses?
I do. I have, if you go to fortresscreditpro.com or rondilambeth.com, I have the entire courses I got, and they're all, by the way, tax deductible for you because I figured out a way to make the courses tax deductible. So right now we have 5 different courses. Included in it is free lifetime credit repair, including inquiry removal and business credit, tax credits, or tax deductions and all that stuff. So yeah, rondilambeth.com's got it all.
Man, y'all hear it out of his mouth, the goat's mouth. Ken asks another question. Have you read The Creature from the Jekyll Island? And what are your takeaways?
A couple times. That's a great book. I generally don't get into that on podcasts because it scares people. And when people are scared, they shut down. They don't listen to it. So I like to talk about how to write things off. But yeah, I've read Jekyll from Creature Island. And if I have an event that I do a couple times a year. I'm doing one in July in Las Vegas, last week of July. No cell phones allowed. No recording devices allowed. And that's when I break down a lot of that stuff in there. So I do that event. If you go to rondilambeth.com, you can get information on that. I really don't advertise it. It's kind of invite only. It's limited to 12 people. And yeah, we're going to break down the whole Creature from Jekyll Island, how that affects your life every day.
Wow. Dropping sauce and game, y'all, man. Listen at him.
Listen to this. I did a video 4 years ago on how to legally buy exotic cars, airplanes, and boats and not pay taxes on it. And I got sued by the state of Nevada for teaching people how to not pay tax. in a state that doesn't charge income tax.
That's crazy.
That's how advanced some of this stuff is. And so I learned my lesson. I don't talk about it online anymore.
Gotcha.
I told you what happened because it's factual record, but I ain't going to tell you what I actually said because legally I can't say it anymore because they made me say that I wouldn't say it online. They didn't say anything about it in a private room in Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I will expand on it just on the broadcast we'll be okay. There was a certain individual that you were in business with years ago, and the gentleman turned around and wind up had a LLC or something, corp in Wyoming it was, right? Or Montana.
Okay.
And then turned around, I guess, and that's what we're discussing, and was rewriting things off and had it into the corporation and all of that. Randy, you were brilliant about that. And I was actually shocked hearing that information from that well-publicized guy.
Yeah, look, if you go by, a good friend of mine's Andy Frisella, and Andy's probably got $50 million worth of cars. His Ford GTs, he's got multiple Ford GTs. They're $2 million each. Sales tax on those cars are $150,000.
Wow.
So you get that car, and if you can legally not pay $150,000 in sales tax, would you not want to do it?
I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. My guy Grant Cardone bought a $60 million jet and didn't pay a dime of sales tax.
Yeah.
That's $4.2 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of worth it to understand these rules. And everybody can do it. It's fair because everybody can do it. It's just not everybody knows.
Yes. Yes. You got to tell the people just a little bit about your good friend Ed Milet, man, purchased a building or something like that. And you were walking in California, and you were talking about that building and how every nook and cranny on that building could be right off. Could you go in a little detail with that?
Yeah, so I just bought a $40 million, well, at least I put it under contract, a $40 million apartment complex in Pennsylvania. And I'm looking for investors to go in with me. Okay. The day we close, we get a $17 million write-off. $17 million. Now, that building did not depreciate by $17 million.
Right.
But if you do what the government wants you to do, you pay no taxes. The government wants you to provide clean, safe, affordable housing to people, especially college students. And so we're buying a $40 million apartment complex right next to Slippery Rock University, which is a nursing school and physical therapy. And so by doing that, we get a $17 million write-off the day we close.
Wow.
And if you're an investor, you invest $100,000, we pay 18-20% interest, you get a $17,000 write-off. No, I'm sorry, you get $39,000 write-off.
Okay.
You invest $100,000, you get $39,000 write-off.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is how the rich don't pay taxes. It's not that it's not fair. It's just they understand the rules better than you.
Yes.
And that's it. If you buy real estate, if you invest in companies, if you invest in energy, you get a write-off.
Yeah. That's insane. I think my good friend Jamal Titus, he went to school not too far from that in Pittsburgh, because you were on a plane or something like that and ran into one of the students at the residence at there, huh?
Yeah, I ran into the parents.
Okay.
I got off the plane and I was getting my rental car, and the parents were sitting there. So I went over and talked to them. I was waiting for my car. So it was really fun. And then I had a whole bunch of people on social media say, hey, my kids are going there. I graduated from there, and I didn't realize, I'd never heard of Slippery Rock University, but it's a big nursing school.
Yeah.
I even dated a girl a couple of years ago. That's where she went because she saw it on social. And she's like, that's where I went to nursing school. So it's fun. So we got a question there. It says,
we do. Ian says, what are your thoughts on Robert Kiyosaki and his work?
Dude, I love Robert Kiyosaki. He's the one that got me on this whole path a long time ago when I was a fireman. I feel like I am a Dave Ramsey, Grant Cardone, and Robert Kiyosaki in the middle.
Yeah.
Grant Cardone is leverage everything. Don't pay anybody back.
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey's pay cash for everything. Don't need credit, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
Rondi Lambeth somewhere else. And so I think I'm kind of in the middle. I think in my mind, I'm holistic about it.
Yeah.
I think you should not be financing your recreation, aka four-wheelers, motorcycles, ski-doos, boats, snowmobiles.
Yeah.
If you have to finance your recreation, you don't have time to recreate.
Yeah.
Now, I believe that you should finance it as long as you have the cash to pay for it. And that cash should be coming from someone else or one of your investments. So you got an Airbnb investment and it's paying you $400 a month, and you can finance recreation at $400 a month. So I think Robert Kiyosaki's right on point with a lot of his stuff. Most of what I've learned started with Robert. Most of what I know about taxes started from Robert Kiyosaki's tax guy named Tom Wheelwright.
Okay.
His book's called Tax-Free Wealth. That's a great place to start. Read that book, study it, just do what he says, and you won't pay taxes anymore.
Wow. Dropping jewels, serious jewels. Wow. Well, Ken's got another question, man. Ken's lighting it up tonight, man. Y'all, everything. I think you've got everybody with their pens and pads sitting down there looking like, what the heck is this, man? Like they didn't think they was gonna come on this broadcast and get all of this information, man.
Good.
Ken says, have you read The Conspiracy of Credit?
I have not. Never heard of it, but I will look it up.
Corey P. Smith, a good friend of mine, mutual friend of mine. I think he wrote that book. So, yeah, it's nice little read, man. Shout out to you, man, Rod, my guy Rod from Points Blank Travel, man. You say, what's up, Lambo Drew? My guy Ken said, I love you, Ronnie. Hey, that's good, man. Now he's dropping some boulders. I'm definitely going to watch this again. Ken says, how much do I need to invest? Vegas is my next write-off.
I think I'm going to charge $7,500 for that event. So if I say it here, $7,500, and it's more than that, then that's what it's going to be. If it's less than that, then it'll be less than that. But I think where I'm going to go is $7,500 for that event. It's going to be 3.5 days in Vegas, the last week of July. So what I mean by if it's more than that, if I change my mind, it's 10 grand, you're only going to pay $7,500. If I change my mind and it's 5, which it won't be, then you'll pay less. But I think it's around $7,500 is what I'm going to do. It's going to be 3.5 days. Every day we're going to do something fun, including some shows, including going to my buddy Nick and client's place, Las Vegas Auto Gallery, which it's the biggest, baddest luxury and exotic car dealership in Nevada. We might go over there, check out some cars, and we're definitely going to go race some cars down in Henderson. We're either going to race in Henderson or we're going to go up to North Las Vegas and do the Richard Petty's experience.
Yes.
And race the NASCAR 220-mile-an-hour cars. So the whole purpose of the event is to learn how taxes work, credit works, money works, and how to write the whole damn thing off.
That's what it's all about, right?
So that's going to be last week of July. Just contact me through the event here. But I think it's going to be $7,500, somewhere in there.
Okay. Don't worry about
it.
By
the way, is 100% tax deductible.
It's Rondi, man. Tracy said Lambo is Rondi human. I start to ask myself of all these years the same thing.
I need to do a post today on Instagram because I've done 75 hard now like 6 times.
Yeah.
And I was on day yesterday was pretty rough for me. Day 3.
Yeah.
And I finally just said, you know what? I ain't gonna finish today.
Yeah.
It was a rough day. I went out in my freezer. It's dripping I got water dripping out of my freezer, which is full of salmon. So I lost about $4,000 yesterday of salmon.
Wow.
Because the damn freezer just quit working. And then you start adding all that other stuff on top of it. And I was like, I had an F moment. I was like, I'm going to go inside. I'm having myself a drink.
Yeah.
So, and I just haven't done the post yet, but I want people to know that sometimes shit happens, and it just, you don't have a bad day, but it's not as good as some of the other days.
Yeah. So I'm at the Gaylord. I got to tell you this real quick. 2 weeks ago with my kids, and the lady, she's got on the 75 hard shirt, right? And I bust out laughing. I look at my wife. I say, Rondi Lambeth, right here. Hey.
I fixed Andy's credit back in 2012.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know who Andy is, it's Andy Frisella, First Form. He's got a couple podcasts. Like, I don't know. I think according to iTunes is like the number 1 or number 2 podcast on business development on the planet.
Yeah.
And look, I fixed Andy's credit. Andy, and I don't tell people when I fix people's credit, because I fix all kinds of celebrities and actors and football players. And but Andy tells everybody, like, Rondi's the dude. He fixed my credit. Look, I'm not saying because I fixed Andy's credit 10 years ago that Andy's now a billionaire, but it has a lot to do with it.
Yes.
Because he's now got incredible credit.
Yeah.
And he's got multi-billion-dollar company that he may or may not leverage his credit to build.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 10 years ago, Andy was not making any money. He says it publicly, like, he didn't make any money the first 10 years. Him and Chris, they didn't make any money.
Wow.
And sometimes it takes 10, 20, 30 years to make money.
Yeah.
Ray Kroc.
Yeah. Yeah. It's prime example.
60.
Yeah.
6 years to finally make it, and then he made it big.
And he's left a legacy behind him, man, after that.
Yeah.
Listen, Ken said, what do I need to be one of the 12? Speaking of that Las Vegas experience, man.
Send me a message, and I'll get you reserved. And here's the crazy. I haven't told anybody else about this. Tonight's the first time I've told anybody about it.
You come to the Lambo Drew Leverage show and you drop it live on the Lambo Drew Leverage show like this?
Yes. And the only person I've told about this is my daughter, who booked the conference room at the Aria in Las Vegas. That's the only person that knows, other than the people that are here. So,
wow. Look how you guys privilege, man. Ken's probably gonna double whatever number you put out there. I think
it's gonna be 7,500.
He's probably gonna pay you 15,000. I'm gonna tell you that right now, Randy.
The only reason it'll be more, is if I get some other experience that is just out of this world experience, like shooting machine guns out of a helicopter on Las Vegas Strip that's probably not a good example, but if we go out to the Grand Canyon and we set up a bunch of zombie targets and we get to shoot machine guns at the zombie targets out of the side of a helicopter, then it might be 10 grand.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason, I promise you guys, that's the only reason I'm going to raise the prices to cover what the extra add-ons. As of right now, it's going to be $7,500.
Awesome. Shout out to you guys for joining the broadcast to see that. 7,500, man. It's a life changer for y'all. All right, Jamal Titus. He said, I know it. He said, look, I've been to Slippery Rock. He know what Slippery Rock is.
Okay. Yeah, it's a cool little town.
Yeah. Jamal Titus said, what do you think about Sanford Boykin's book, Lower Your Taxes Big Time?
I don't know that book.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I like it since it says lower your taxes big time. I like that.
Yeah. Another good read to go ahead and check it out. Yep. I'm in Charleston. Tracy says I'm in Charleston, South Carolina, and love to fish. I need to know how to purchase a contender with no taxes and minimum payments.
A contender, I'm assuming, is a bass boat. The payments, you got to make sure that you have a high credit score. You're going to have payments unless you're paying cash, which is stupid to pay cash for a business expense. The cost of money today is so cheap with inflation. Look, if you can get a loan at 3% interest and inflation's 15%, you're making 12% on your money by having a loan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If it's 3% for the loan and 15% on inflation, that's a 12-point difference. Plus, the 3% is tax deductible. So it makes it like free money as long as you have a way to pay for it. So if I was going to buy a boat and write it off, I would start I'd start a business and I'd rent that boat out. I'd do some chartering. I'd set up another LLC. In order to write it off, it has to have a purpose of making money. You can't go buy a recreational bass boat that you only go out with your family and friends on. You have to actually take clients out and make money with it. Now, if you just want to buy a boat, that's cool. If you want to write it off, you got to take business people out on it and make money from it.
That's a lot of game for y'all, man. Dropping heat, man. Ken hit you with the fire emojis, man. Jamal Titus is cracking up laughing, man. Jamal Titus says shooting zombies. That may be a good one, man.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
There actually is a tour in Las Vegas. You go out in Red Rock and you shoot zombies with paintball guns. But I was thinking if you had a helicopter doing it, it might be worth an extra couple grand to go out in the helicopter, hang out at the side of the helicopter doing it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be available.
Hey, we're going to see about it, man.
Yep.
Calibrated, man. And he said it's a 44-foot boat.
Yeah, that's a beautiful boat. Yeah, so I would turn that into a business. But here's the thing is, in order to write this stuff off, it has to be a business first. It can't be a hobby because otherwise it's tax evasion.
Okay.
So there's that thin line that you got to, if you're going to do it, make it a business. And if you happen to use it outside of the business, it's fine. But don't go and buy it just so you can write it off because the IRS is not going to allow that. There's a thin line there. If you go into my class, I'll break that down with no recordings of how to do it.
Well, I got to ask because it's 3 days of intense one-on-one with you, and you're talking about what 12 people in a room with Rondi Lambeth.
Yep. 3.5 days, 12 people max. Because I rented a suite, and in the suite at the Aria, it's got a 12 person conference room inside my suite. So it's 12 people. That's it.
Yeah. Wow. What kind of questions will they be able to get to ask you, or is it just
anything they want?
Wow.
Now I'm going to show you how to go in there and buy silver, buy gold, write it off through your business. There's so much that we're going to show in there, and how to increase your credit and pay less taxes and buy business and all the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're getting it, man. Ken says he loves guns too. I just got to laugh at that, man.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, so he's excited about that. Now, Rondi, you were on CBS. This is one of my other good questions. Just about a week or two ago, you talked about being able to maximize and get more money back for Americans spending credit. We understand that consumer debt is like one of the hugest things now in America. And what is it, like 58% of people don't even have an emergency savings loan or $500 or $1,000 set aside. What are some of the things that some of the, clients who are on here, man, wish that they could possibly do to help leverage some things and get some money back, man?
Yeah, I think the number is actually like 76% of Americans are paycheck to paycheck. It might be 58% that don't have at least $500 in the bank account. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It's a lot, right? Yeah. So I think most of it is Americans don't have a income problem. Americans have a spending problem. And
Talk to us. Talk to us.
How much money they spend. And when you don't keep track of how much money you spend more than you got. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what I talked about on CBS was how to save $350 a month by increasing your credit score. By simply just understanding how credit works, you can increase your score. And we really didn't even talk about credit. Mm-hmm. Credit's the most important number in your life. Mm-hmm. Your FICO credit score. Everything you buy, everything costs more if you have bad credit. Your gas, your groceries, your electricity, your food. your clothing, your insurance. Do you know your car insurance pulls your credit twice a year, and they determine how much you're going to pay on car insurance based on your credit score? Because they figured out that people with poor credit have a higher likelihood of having a car accident. And because of that, they charge you more. So let's break that down. If you got a bunch of medical bills and you're running from the repo man, you're not paying on your credit cards and they're calling you 15, 20 times a day. Are you more likely to have a car accident than someone who's got an 800 credit score, paying everything, not a care in the world on their money?
Yes.
Of course. So they charge you more. So what I talked about was how the average American loses $350 a month due to a low credit score. Not that they have bad credit, they just have a low credit score. And according to FICO, really anybody under 740 is low credit, because anything under 740 you're going to pay more for. So there's a few things that you can do to increase your credit. Number one, you must have at least 3 credit cards that are open and used every day.
Now, hold on.
But
I don't mean to interrupt this. Yeah. Dave Ramsey just destroys the credit card game. And, you know, this is where we differ at. Because me and you are in the credit specialist game, man. Talk to him about that, man. And why 3? I had people argue that point over that, Rondi.
The reason it's 3 is because FICO says it's 3. FICO's figured out if you got 3 credit cards that are open and used every month, those people are more likely to pay their bills on time over the next 2 years. So your entire FICO credit score is whether or not you will pay your bills on time over the next 2 years. That's all your FICO score is. It's a prediction of the future. So FICO's figured out over the last 60 plus years that people with 3 credit cards that keep a balance below 5% are generally more likely to pay their bills. And so that's how the algorithm is set up. If you don't have 3 credit cards, it's more likely you're going to miss a payment. If you don't use your credit cards every month and pay them off in full every month, it's more likely you're going to miss a payment. If you have no credit cards and you pay cash for everything, you're more likely to miss a payment on the other bills that you have, or you're more likely to have a collection that shows up because you're not managing your credit cards the proper way. So if you can simply manage 3 credit cards, keep it below 5% utilization rate, if that's all you did, you would actually have a pretty damn good credit score. You could be up in the high 700s with just 3 credit cards. You don't need a mortgage, don't need car loans, don't need anything else, just 3 credit cards. But if you do not have at least 3 credit cards, you will never have great credit. Now, there's some exceptions to that. Look, if you're 60, 70, 80 years old and you've had credit since you were a little kid and you only got 1 credit card, then you have your exception to the rule. So let's throw those people out. Everybody else, between 25 and say 55, you got to have at least 3 credit cards and manage it, keep it less than 5%.
Got it. It's a lot of game out here for that. And for those who decide to, I've got some people, man, they're building credit. You know, what are some tools that they can actually help to build credit, Rondi, if they don't have any credit cards like that?
So piggybacking or authorized users, probably the easiest thing. I have a new book coming out. I just looked at one of the final drafts of it today. So it'll be out on Amazon here pretty soon and on my website.
Okay.
And I break down the whole FICO, the whole FICO credit score. But if you have no credit, then I recommend you go to your family, your friends, and ask them to add you to their credit cards as an authorized user. Think about it this way. If I come out to where you live and we go out to lunch or we go out to dinner and we get in your car, does the fact that I've had 30 DUIs impact your car insurance?
No.
No. And I haven't had any DUIs. Just
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't impact it, right? Does the fact that I had a whole bunch of speeding tickets impact your car insurance?
No.
No. Because it's your car.
Right.
I'm just along for the ride.
Right. Correct.
Am I responsible for your car insurance?
No.
Am I responsible in case you needed an oil change?
No.
If your car breaks down on the side of the road, am I going to pay for the towing bill?
No.
Because I'm an authorized rider.
Yeah.
Same thing as an authorized user. I'm along for the ride. So your bad credit or lack of credit does not impact your friend's credit. You're not responsible for their credit. They don't get impacted from your bad credit. So if you have bad credit or poor credit, and I put you on one of my credit cards, doesn't hurt you. So a week ago, I had a Miami Dolphin hire me. And he's like 22, 23 years old, trying to build business or trying to build personal credit. I'm also building business credit for him. And so I put him on a bunch of my credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
His one collection from when he was in college for doing something in the dorm room or whatever it was doesn't impact my credit.
Mm-hmm.
But my $50,000 credit card that I put him on as an authorized user that's getting ready to show up in a few weeks is going to have a major impact on his credit score. That's an authorized user. He's not getting a credit card, but all of my credit history will show up on his credit report as credit history. So that's probably the biggest thing you can do is have your friends and family add you as an authorized user to their credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure that they are not maxing out those cards because their credit limit and their balance will show up on their credit report, and that could have a negative impact. Case in the driving. If you're driving 150 miles an hour, it could impact my health, right? If you wreck the car.
Right.
So you want to make sure they're not maxing out the cards. But as long as they're not maxing out the cards, they're making their payments on time, ask them to put you on their credit. And that will have a big impact on your credit score.
Awesome. Do you so is FICO 10, has that played a big factor with the authorized users? I read somewhere that they were somewhere playing a factor with authorized users, being able to acknowledge them or not acknowledge them.
Yeah. FICO 10 will ignore authorized users, but nobody's using FICO 10.
Yeah.
So the banks aren't using FICO 10. I mean, look, mortgage companies are still using FICO Model 2. It was developed in 1996. Imagine using Windows 95 right now. It's ridiculous that they're still using FICO Model 2, but they are. So, yeah, it's true that authorized users don't work with FICO Model 9, FICO Model 10, but nobody's using FICO Model 9 and FICO Model 10. So until they develop it, it ain't going to matter. You know, look, like I said, mortgage brokers using FICO Model 2. It would take an act of Congress, legit, act of Congress to allow mortgage companies to not use FICO Model 2 because it is a federal law that they have to use FICO Model 2. So it ain't going to change anytime soon.
Right.
They got other things to worry about.
Yeah, a whole lot more. You know as well as I do.
Yeah.
And what about let's talk about those mortgage rates, man. What about people who are trying to qualify for a house? What would they possibly need? And should be a good time or a bad time to purchase a house at this point, Rondi, with interest rates now rising back up?
You know, it depends. I think it depends on why you're buying. Yeah, rates are going up. But do you think rates are going to be lower in the future? I don't.
No.
You know, I think, they're at 3.5%, 4%. Do I think they're going to be 3.5%, 4% a year from now? No. That's still cheaper than inflation.
Yeah.
So it depends on why you're wanting to buy. And I think if you're going to buy just so you can buy and say you're a homeowner, that's a bad idea. I think if you're going to buy and you're not settled in that area, say for at least 5 years, then I don't think you should buy. I think you should rent. And look, I sold my house in Tahoe in 2018, and people said I was crazy because I become a renter for 3 years. I made tens of millions of dollars off the equity from that house because I took the equity. I went and bought apartment complexes, and then we bought the apartments. I made a whole bunch of money, and I sold it. And so I made tens of millions of dollars from the equity from the house that I sold by being a renter. So if I would have bought in Las Vegas, because I went from Lake Tahoe to Las Vegas, I probably would have made money, but I might have lost money.
Yeah.
It's easy to look back and say I would have made money, but what if the market would have corrected?
Right.
And maybe I think part of the reason that some of these markets like Vegas are just going gangbusters is because of COVID.
Yeah.
Because COVID allowed people to go work at home, and they left California to go to Vegas, and they're still making California wages living in Las Vegas. And if it wasn't for COVID, their boss would have never let them go work from home. Well, if COVID wouldn't have happened, does the market really would have done as great as it would have? I don't know. So you got to really think about, why is it that you're buying the house? Because I don't believe that houses are assets. I believe that it's a liability. Back to Robert Kiyosaki. If it's not putting money in your pocket, it is a liability. It's not an asset. Even though it's people's greatest asset, as they say, it shouldn't be the house you live in should not be your greatest asset. It's probably your biggest liability, because how do you get the money out of it? You sell it and then you pay taxes on it, maybe. But if you sell it, you got to move somewhere else. So back to your question, do I think people should buy? I don't know. It just depends on what it is that they're trying to accomplish. Interest rates, I don't know. Look, if you had an investment right now and you said, Rondi, I need $100,000. I said, okay, interest is 100%. That's a lot of money, right?
That's a whole lot of money, man.
So I'm going to loan you $100,000, but I'm going to charge you $100,000. But you're going to make $1 million. Would you care that I was going to charge you 100% interest?
Man, if I know I got $1 million deal play on the line, you can have it. I'm going to get that. We're going to get this play. We're going to run the play.
But if you don't get the $100,000 in the next few hours, you ain't going to make the $1 million. Who cares what I'm going to charge you? So the interest rate should never be the reason that you buy something or reason why you don't buy something. It's what are you going to do with it?
So you're always thinking and leveraging for the long run with things, with any real estate that you purchase or buy.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Now I got another question. Somebody says to own a business or not to own a business in this age. Talk to us.
Well, that one's easy. That one's easy. All that stuff I talked about earlier that you can write off, you can't do it unless you own a business. I think the greatest thing you can do to impact your wealth and your finances is owning a business. I think it's the number one thing you can do, because there's not very many people that get wealthy that make it through W-2 income. I'll give you an example. Phillip Rivers. Arguably, according to the stats, one of the greatest quarterbacks in history. Dude doesn't have very much money as a W-2 employee. Look at Peyton Manning. Peyton made a fraction, a very, very small fraction per year as an NFL player compared to Rivers. But Peyton's worth 100 times more than Rivers, because Peyton took his money and he bought every single Papa John's in Colorado. He bought car dealerships. He bought other restaurants. He bought apartment complexes. Look at John Elway, one of the greatest quarterbacks in all history. John didn't make his money from playing football. Yeah, he made some money, but if you compare it to how much he made outside of football, all back to business.
Yeah.
I believe you have your W-2 job during the day, and you make your money at the kitchen table at night working on your business. The W-2 job pays for the business until the business pays you, and you don't have to have a W-2 job. You ain't ever going to get rich, and you're ever going to get wealthy from a W-2 job. You have to have a business, whether it's real estate or e-commerce or whatever else it is. Look, I had dinner with Caitlyn Jenner 3 years ago.
Okay.
And talked about his son, her, whatever. His son didn't really like people, but he loved dogs. Didn't really like going to work, but he loved dogs. Didn't want a job, but he loved dogs. And so Bruce told him, he's like, well, why don't you start a dog walking business? So he started a dog walking business. Caitlyn Jenner, a.k.a. Bruce Jenner's son, now makes $5 million a year. $5 million a year walking freaking dogs and washing dogs and playing with dogs. He has an entire boarding school now for the rich and wealthy celebrities' dogs. $5 million a year hanging out with dogs. And it started with one dog walking it for a friend. All about business. I think that's the greatest thing you could ever do. And it's the greatest way to change the world, by the way, because it's business owners that change the world. It's not politicians. Definitely not W-2 employees. It's business owners.
Dude, you said a mouthful with that. Now there is a course or something like that you're teaching, if I'm not mistaken, that actually has that. Can they actually go to rondilambeth.com to be able to sign up for that? Because I know there was something where you were teaching people, man, how to make another stream of income as well as become business owners.
I don't know the link. I don't know what it is on Rondi Lambeth. I think it's financial-coaching, but I know on Fortress Credit Pro, which is one of my businesses, fortresscreditpro.com/coaching is this program, Financial Fitness, which I go through the entire thing of how to set up a company, how to establish your business, how to do a budget, a marketing plan, do the tax write-offs, the whole thing. I think it's fortresscreditpro.com/coaching. I didn't plan on promoting that tonight, but you brought it up. So fortresscreditpro.com/coaching. You can actually go to the link and purchase that 12-week coaching program with me. It's one-on-one. And you're not going to get the same information you'll get in Vegas, but you get the ground, the foundation of the Vegas class. But it's fortresscreditpro.com/coaching. I think that's what it is.
Okay. I've wrote it into the comments real quick. Let me know if this is it. Make sure that I put it on there for you. Is this it?
I think, no. Yes. Did you put pros? There's no S.
No S. That's what I thought.
Yep. Just fortresscreditpro.com.
Yes.
And I think it's rondilambeth.com/financial coaching, but
okay.
I'll just put it in real quick. I should be prepared for this kind of stuff.
Hey, Rondi, when you was I'm gonna do my
fortresscreditpro.com/coaching.
Coaching. Yeah. All right. So without the S, y'all, fortresscreditpro.com/coaching.
Yep.
Gotcha. So it's on the screen, you guys, without the S. You guys can go there and definitely purchase that because that's a huge tool as well.
And it's tax deductible, by the way.
Yeah. Rondi, I think everything you're doing, man, you're teaching tax deductibles, man.
I'm doing a first time in years. I'm doing a trip in a few weeks that's not tax deductible.
Yeah.
I am going to Alaska, and I'm hunting monsters. Monsters that they just killed one of these monsters just mauled a guy in Montana like a week ago.
Okay.
So I'm going to go hunt these monsters in Alaska. It's not tax deductible. First time I've done a trip in a long, long time. It's not deductible. I waited 5 years to get on this list, though. They only let 2 people a year onto this island to hunt these 1,200-pound monsters, AKA grizzly bears.
I was getting ready to say, you got to bring it out here, man, Rondi.
You want to see this? You want to see a picture of this grizzly bear they got last year up there?
I do.
My girlfriend says I can't share this with people because people might get offended. And I'm like, well, they get offended. They follow me. I don't follow them.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Look at that, man. Dude.
Now, you might say, well, that's just a camera angle. Well, explain that.
Is that Bigfoot?
That's his foot.
Oh.
Looks like this big. So I'm going to be hunting these monsters in about 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hopefully they don't get me.
Yes. Hey, you better have enough firepower, man. What was the movie Tremors years ago with Kevin Bacon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You better have the firepower. Remember the one couple, the husband and wife? They had everything possibly they could have, whatever that is, the elephant guns.
Well, I got a big old sniper rifle, and then the guy that goes with me has another rifle in case I miss.
You need it, man, at that point.
Yeah.
So Ken says, man, so what do you think about Rob Gronkowski's banking all of his NFL paychecks and living on his endorsements?
Yeah, exactly. Same thing with Peyton. Peyton lived off of a lot of these athletes live off of their endorsements, and then they bank all the rest of it. So it's a great idea.
Good. Ken is definitely he's just saying, hey, you're the very first professional I ever heard you say that since Robert Kiyosaki.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
Talking about, I think he was referring to making sure that you get rich. You won't never ever get rich by working your W-2.
Nope.
You must have a business.
We have to.
Yeah. Jamal Tide is saying facts, man. And Ken says, oh my gosh, I buy silver and gold, he says.
When you come to my event in Vegas, I'm going to explain how you can write off all your silver and all your gold. I will not say here because it will not be on the recording.
Don't worry about it. We gotta make sure we keep this all the way rated. Ken says, I'm all about guns. A friend of mine and a gunfighting instructor is a former DEA sniper.
Yeah, you absolutely can write up. I had a whole company called Princess with a Gun. It was my ex-wife's company, and all the guns in my safe behind me were written off through the business. Every single one of them, all the ammo, all of it. Because it was business for the guns.
Wow. That is huge. So listen, Rondi, man, shout out to you, Cammy. Good to see you on here. Oh man, they thanking you for all your knowledge on here. I am more than just ecstatic about this, Rondi. You gave way more than I ever thought you were going to give to the broadcast, man. I mean, listen, I want people to make sure that they go ahead, man, invest in you, follow you, because you have just really opened the floodgates to changing a lot with this broadcast and all the knowledge and gems you drop. So I thank you for that, man.
Yeah,
Truly, I thank you for that. Again, you guys, I won't hold up Rondi's time, man. He's gave us over 90 minutes of his time, man, on here. I definitely want to be able to get back, man, to the family, especially with the moving that is taking place. But listen, if anybody else out there has any questions, you guys can definitely go to RondiLambeth.com. Y'all make sure you guys go ahead and follow Rondi, too, on his social media at Instagram at Rondi Lambeth, right here on the screen, Instagram.com at Rondi Lambeth. Make sure you guys like, follow him. But please go ahead and invest into your future. Share this video, man. Give it out to whatever you possibly can, because it's definitely helping changing the lives of millions of people around the world if you guys get it out to the audience. I'm telling you, one person at a time, and that's what we're here for. So, yeah, Rondi, man, we're excited, man. Thank you for all of this. People are giving you so much love. Thank you so much. LA Law, shout out to you. Jamal Titus, thank you for sharing Rondi Drew, giving you some wonderful love, Rondi, man, on the broadcast. My wife would say thank you, Rondi, for coming here on the Leverage Show. Definitely.
Good.
So I am excited for this. Listen, make sure you guys go ahead, man, share this broadcast. We are definitely not out of information, but we are definitely getting out of time at this point. So, Rondi,
I'll come back later. We'll talk some more credit stuff later.
You're going to talk more credit stuff later?
Yeah. Not tonight, but later. We'll come back.
No, that's what I'm saying. You would come back to this broadcast and talk more credit stuff later.
Yeah. We'll talk some credit stuff. We'll spend a whole hour and a half on just credit.
Sounds good to me, Rondi. Well, listen, y'all. Till next time, man. Thank you, Rondi. Thank you for coming to the show. Again, you guys can go ahead and make sure you guys follow Rondi, stay in contact with him. Every day you post every day on social media too, man. Just about when you're out on your stories. Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah. So make sure you guys go ahead, man. Like, subscribe to the channel as well. Rondi also has a YouTube page as well out there. So you guys follow him on social media. Go check out that TikTok video as well. That's got all those videos. How can they find that, Rondi? Do you know offhand?
Rondi Lambeth. It's right on the feed.
Okay. Rondi Lambeth, you guys make sure.
Really easy to find on the old internets.
Yes.
Interwebs, I'm easy to find.
All right. Hey, as he said it, Tracy said, thank you so much, Rondi. Future success. I hope to see you in August.
Hope so.
Yeah. Well, you guys know where to find him at. Listen, we are going out of here. Thank you guys again. Thank you, Mr. Rondi Lambeth. Thank the entire crew out here for rocking with us again on the broadcast and showing some major love out here. Till next time, we're out of here, man. That's the end of the Leverage Show. We're tee up, man, and thank you guys again. We'll come back, man, next time for y'all. Love y'all. Have a wonderful, safe day, a wonderful, safe week. We see you guys next Tuesday night when we right back in the saddle, man, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Love you guys. We out here. Take care.